Hello, it's John Petters here, and this video, I hope, will persuade you that you simply can't miss the 3rd Louis Armstrong Celebration Jazz Festival at Mundesley Holiday Village on the picturesque North Norfolk coast on the 30th of May to the 2nd of June this year. No less than 32 of the world's finest traditional jazz and swing stars will be on hand to provide you with a unique musical experience which we expect will remain in your memory for years to come. Satchmo died in 1971, but his spirit can certainly be enjoyed in the uncannily similar and flamboyant playing of the gifted Alan Bateman seen here. Louis' influence affected every musician who came after him, including perhaps the only original European sound to emerge in jazz in the 30s, Gypsy Jazz a la Django Reinhardt. Seen in this clip is the dexterous Jonathan Graham on solo guitar, along with multi-instrumentalist Tim Phillips playing rhythm here, with the self-taught and impeccably reliable Keith Donald on bass. The flowing reed playing is from the world-renowned Trevor Whiting, who impressed the legendary American blues pianist Art Hodes when they worked together in the 80s. Hodes is seen here on this historic video with Wild Bill Davison and my band in 1989. Note the agile trombonist, none other than the remarkable Jackie Free, one-time sideman of the memorable Freddie Randall Band. If anyone is worthy to appear at a Louis Armstrong festival, it is surely Jackie, who played with Old Satch in the 50s, as seen here in this photo. In the 80s, Jackie played with a number of important American legends, including Yank Lawson, with whom we recorded together the album Making Whoopee, and the amazing Billy Butterfield, seen in this photo. Jackie, now in his 80s, remains an important and individual voice of the jazz trombone in the UK. Another veteran musician who is truly world-class is the guitarist Jim Douglas, seen here in a Jazz 625 show with New Orleans trumpet legend Henry Red Allen and the Alex Welsh Band. Jim published his recollections in a book, Tunes, Tours and Travelitis, last year, recalling many happy years on the road with the Welsh Band, and tales of sessions with Red Allen, Wild Bill, Bud Freeman and Pee Wee Russell. I've always been delighted to feature tomorrow's young jazz stars today, and it is a rare female performer who joins the almost male-dominated world of jazz these or any other days. One particularly exciting discovery is Amy Roberts, who is currently featured with the famed Chris Barber Band. A multi-instrumentalist, Amy excels on both clarinet and sax, but here she displays her prowess on the flute, backed by the wonderful pianist Tim Huskisson, Jim Douglas and bassist Trevor Fingers Williams. Here's Amy again, this time playing the blues on clarinet. The hot trombone man is none other than the enormously talented Dave Hewitt. He replaced George Chisholm in the Freddie Randall Band, where he stayed for 3 years, playing hundreds of broadcasts, concerts and including the Montreux Jazz Festival. Here's Jim, Tim, Trevor and myself laying down Duke's Mood Indigo. At Mundesley, we will be marking the 40th anniversary of the Duke's passing in 1974. Bookings are coming in quickly. We have some single, double and twin-bedded chalet apartments available. Please call 01406 365 731 or email to book or for a colour flyer to tjpost@traditional-jazz.com. This is a full board event including dinner Friday, breakfast, lunch and dinner on Saturday and Sunday and breakfast on Monday morning. More senior jazz fans will remember the trad boom in the 50s. One of the greatest bands was the Acapulco Paramount Jazz Band. Its young Liverpudlian cornet player can be seen on this old record sleeve. 50 years later, he's blowing better than ever and still with all the fire he had at the age of 20. This was Ken Sims last year at Mundesley. See what I mean? Seen here with Ken is the amazing tailgate trombonist Mike Poynton. Mike's CV reads like a who's who of jazz. He worked with the New Orleans clarinet king Albert Nicholas in Belgium, with Mesmero and the George Lewis pianist Alton Purnell. Mike is a walking encyclopedia on jazz, a BBC broadcaster responsible for such fine documentaries as Bunk and Bill and Melly on Jelly. He co-wrote the definitive book on Ken Collier, Going Home, which won the All-Party Parliamentary Jazz Award. Completing the front line is one of Australia's finest exports, the exuberant Carl Hurd. Whether playing beautiful Creole clarinet or booting tenor sax, Carl always has something to say. Oxford-based guitar and banjoist Dave Morwood is an asset to any rhythm section. Another musician who knows the music inside out. Dave leads two wonderful and diverse bands, the Big Bear Stompers specialising in the West Coast revival style, and his Rascals of Rhythm, a 30s style swing outfit. The banjo is regarded in some circles as the butt of 1,000 jokes. This is mainly due to the rather unimaginative playing of the instrument in many trad bands. In the hands of a virtuoso, however, the instrument flowers into a thing of beauty and a joy forever, to quote the poet Keats. I think you will agree that Keats could have been inspired to write those words had he heard Sean Moyses. I always make it a policy to book the best available piano players for my festivals, and Mundesley will feature some really exceptional players, like piano professor Martin Litton, seen here in Jelly Roll Morton mode at last year's event. Dave Browning is another example of two-handed piano playing in the old tradition. Lord Arsenal, seen here on trumpet, is perhaps better known as a pianist, as is Colin Bray, but both of them are multi-instrumentalists. Colin doubles on saxes, clarinet and vibes. Running these festivals is for me a particular joy. It enables me to book musicians whom I respect and admire. One such is the young man on the drums. He is none other than the spectacular Colin Bowden, arguably the finest traditional jazz drummer these islands have ever produced. Colin shot to fame in the best of the Ken Collier bands in the mid-50s and was featured on recordings with the iconic George Lewis. Here's Colin again, this time playing a spiritual from our Walking with the King gospel show last year. The trumpet man is the melodic and tasteful Teddy Fullick from Nottingham.
Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old...
Graham Robertson Chesterman, otherwise known as Ches, and I go back a long way. Before that, this cornet player, who hails from Hull, cut his teeth in the Cy Laurie and Sandy Brown bands, as well as working with the late George Chisholm OBE, as seen in this photo. For more than a quarter of a century, Brian White and Alan Gresty have co-led the Ragtimers, a band dedicated to celebrating the music of Muggsy Spanier and Bob Crosby. Both players have long pedigrees. Brian actually appeared on one of the last 78 RPM discs in the 50s, and Alan was for many years a member of the Monty Sunshine Band. When I first worked with Julian Stringel in 1983, he was about 19 years old, and I thought he was brilliant then. The late Sir John Dankworth agreed. See why. Last year we missed Heather Burt at Mundesley, who was on maternity leave. It would be a pleasure to welcome her back this year. In this final clip from last year's festival, you can see and hear the young Wild Bill Davison-inspired cornetist Alan Beachy blowing up a storm in typical Condon style. The young lady on the bass here is another Australian, the effervescent Annie Hawkins, another musician with whom I've had a long and enjoyable musical association. It will also be a very great pleasure to welcome to Mundesley for the very first time the young, up-and-coming Norfolk-based trumpeter Simon Nelson, who will be featured alongside Pete Allen. Pete is an incredible entertainer and a fiery player, as evidenced here. There will be no less than 17 different live sessions, plus a jazz quiz, jazz lecture and a jazz forum. There is a first-class dance floor at Mundesley, so you can just listen or strut your stuff as the feeling takes you. This will be an unequalled weekend, celebrating the music of New Orleans, Chicago, Harlem and the Cotton Club, ragtime, Dixieland, swing, the American Songbook, oh, and a bit of skiffle as well. So why not pick up the phone and call 01 406 365 731 and book your place. The weekend, including all music, accommodation and food, is just $229 per person, based on 2 people sharing. We also have single chalets available. I hope to see you there. Thank you for watching and listening.